Hi, welcome back. TribPreps video series here. It's week 4. I am Alex VandenHouten, sports reporter, and to my left here is Todd Sommerfeldt, sports editor here at the Lacrosse Tribune, and we're going to recap Friday night's action here. It was a good night around the around the area here.
Lots of blowouts.
Lots of blowouts, especially for our games, our 4 games. I mean, I was trying to do the math earlier. I think all 4 of us went to games that were 30 plus or more margin of defeat.
Close to that. Mine was 41-18, Holmen over Central.
Yeah.
Which Central hung around for into the third quarter before Holmen pulled away. So there was some excitement to that game for a while until Holmen really started moving the ball and everything, and then just kind of overwhelmed Central at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was expecting. And let's just quickly run through the scores. Todd mentioned 41-18 Holmen. Alaska, Logan, the game I was at, Alaska handled business 50-6. Sparta won again, 28-14. Over Toma. They picked off Toma's quarterback, Justin Gerke. There's his name.
Yeah,
yep.
4 times.
4 times tonight.
Yep.
After we just gave Justin Gerke some credit.
Yep.
It's normally how it works, right? But Sparta's really good defensively, and they did the job tonight. And then we'll move over to the Swall. Lancaster beat up on Alaska Luther 47-7. Aquinas won their 3rd in a row tonight over Cuba City 35-14.
Blue Golds are winning.
And Scenic Bluffs, Brookwood 35, Hillsborough 0. Bangor, no surprise, 55-6. Over South Central, GT put the most points tonight, 68 against Wisconsin Dells, defeating Wisconsin Dells 68-13. And SWC Arcadia won again over Viroqua 25-13. Prairie du Chien, big victory tonight over Westby in overtime, 24-17. Westby is now 0-4. A little bit surprising. I know we were talking about that before.
Yep.
A little bit
good performance at Prairie du Chien, obviously.
Yeah.
And especially for them to go out and play well, considering what happened weather-wise down there the last couple of days. I mean, there was question of whether they'd be able to play, and they did. So good for them to at least pull out something positive out of that.
And Dairyland, Melge Manduro won their 24th consecutive Dairyland game, 7-6 over Whitehall. Squeaked by, but
they're getting tougher, but they're still winning.
Still got that streak. And then Blair Taylor handled Oliva Strum 20-3, and Richland Valley DeSoto moved to 4-0, defeating Highland 23-6.
Playoffs, 24th year in a row.
Trevor Rayban 208 more yards tonight.
Tearing it up.
He's up to close to 800 now in 4 games, which is incredible. Leads the area around here. Caledonia, once again, no surprise, they extend the nation's longest win streak, 43-0 over Zambroda Mazeppa tonight.
57 in a row.
57 in a row, that's what it is? 57 in a row. I know we're going back and forth, but it's 56?
57
Okay, 57. Non-conference, Lake Mills dropped West Salem 47-13. West Salem still searching for their first win. And then Ithaca, 42, Cashin 6 tonight. We'll wrap up the scores. But let's dive right into it. Let's first talk more about the Holmen Central game. You mentioned it briefly. Like I said, Central, Holmen came out strong and Central came back. 21-18 it was, and then, like you said, Holmen kind of just wore them down.
Yeah, Holmen had lost a fumble early that allowed Central to kind of hang in there, but Central made good on it and got to the end zone. It was a nice pass by Johnny Davis to Terrence Thompson in the back of the end zone to get him within 21-18 in the third quarter. But it was all Holmen after that. Holmen had a drive after that, answered immediately with a nice long touchdown drive. Picked up a really big first down on a 4th and 1 during it to keep it going. Had they failed on that, I mean, Central is in business. It was on their side of the 50, and they had all the momentum at that point. And Central really didn't do anything consistently offensively other than hit enough big plays to stay in it. But at that time, had they gotten that stop, and Cam Weber barely got it, but had they gotten that stop, they could have done something with the ball. But Holmen, like I said, really turned it up after that and ended up rushing for 436 yards in the game. Didn't complete any passes this time, but it was Brett Holden at 169 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, so it was a nice breakout game for him. But they just kind of wore the Red Raiders down, especially in the second half after that little flurry at the beginning.
And Red Raiders, obviously, first game without really Jordan Davis. I know they lost him early last weekend, but this was their first full game without him. Offensively, he said they couldn't really find a rhythm, but made enough big plays to make it interesting. I mean,
and it was tough. Another thing Coach Service, Tony Service said was they're missing some linemen too. So we knew about the issues at safety and how that was impacting the defense. But you get some guys hurt on that offensive line, it's tough to recreate what you had. So Johnny was just kind of left on his own a few times and managed to find some people down the field and made some good plays. They didn't have much of a running game at all tonight, but they were able to throw the ball, but just ran out of gas.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to my game on Alaska, 50-6 over Logan, and right away you could tell there was a different energy. It was homecoming there. Nathan Lubinsky said after, the Hilltoppers were a little, pissed off after last week's game against Lake Mills, dropping by just 1 point, a game that very easily could have been theirs. And you could tell they came out pretty angry tonight, and a lot of energy was there. And I mean, they put up over 500 total yards tonight. Lubinsky, another big night, 150 yards. And Yashinsky said it was really key to get that run game going tonight, especially against a team like Logan, because the first 3 games, it was tough sledding against some big competition. He said, and Hudson, River Falls, and it was a hard time to get the run game going. So that was a big priority. He said, and they were able to do that, over 200 yards rushing, well over 200 yards rushing. Ben Whittenberg almost had 100 yards rushing as well. So it was good to see them really just take control. And the offensive line, and really dominated for the Hilltoppers. Lubinsky, Whittenberg, doesn't matter who was running the ball tonight. They weren't getting touched, 7-8 yards down the pass line.
If you're on Alaska, that's exactly what you want to see out of your team. I mean, go out there and destroy an opponent. There probably a lot of frustration after losing to Lake Mills last week and the way they lost, getting a touchdown called back, and not even getting the kickoff on a field goal that you're going to try to hit to win the game. So I'm sure it wasn't a real fun ride back from Lake Mills last week, and I'm sure they were just waiting to get back out on the field, and I think that's maybe what you saw tonight is chomping at the bit to get back out there and right everything, and they certainly did that against Logan, and now we'll see where it goes from here.
And Austin Larson was, money again, 6 of 10, over 200 yards on 6 completions. He had 3
the most of them.
3 long completions, one to Haggerty, another one to Landon Pearson that kicked off the game that really kind of set the tone early on. But once again, it was the offensive line, that first play, that first touchdown, it was a double move on the outside, a play action, a play that requires a lot of time in the pocket. Larson had it all day, found Peterson, and no problem. Easy money right there, easy money. And obviously, Logan, I think we're a little surprised by the score, considering
because Logan, we've seen them hang with good teams.
Exactly, yeah. And we talked about this Thursday too.
Right, you wondered if it was going to happen again, but it seemed like Alaska just overwhelmed them this time. And I think you said they had 28 yards in the first half.
Only 1 first down in the first half.
So tough goal for the Rangers.
Yeah, very tough goal. And then we'll move on to Sparta Toma, like we mentioned. Sparta picked off Justin Gerke 4 times tonight.
They just keep doing it.
They just keep finding ways to win. It's a different way every week too, it feels like.
Yeah, and if you're Toma, you held them 28 points. That's 20 below their average, but the turnovers can kill, and that's obviously what happened in this game. Toma stayed with them early. It seemed like Sparta would score, and then Toma would tie it, and Sparta would score, and Toma would tie it, and then maybe the interceptions took over at that point. I'm not positive, but you have to say another impressive win for Sparta. It's such a good rivalry game, and people may look at it and say they only won by 14 or they only scored 28, but Sparta Toma is a big deal. Yeah, and getting that win was a really big for the Spartans, especially it was a game they lost last year. Yeah, exactly. And obviously Sparta went to round 3 of the playoffs last year, to level 3, and like Todd mentioned, it's a big rivalry. They've been playing since 1894, and it's always you never know what you're going to quite get. It reminds me a little bit of like GT West Salem type of stuff. It could be a grinder out. It doesn't matter what the team's records are. Those are good. Yeah, that's another good rivalry we have around here too. For sure. And then so it'll be interesting to see what Sparta can keep it moving forward. But we'll move here to the Swallow. We just want to touch on Aquinas real quick because we have to. I mean, 3 in a row, 3, and I mean. The way they did it too last week, it was Will Cambio, Aiden Lee, big time performances, but this week it was Gavin Vetzel, 6 for 7 the quarterback position, 86 yards, throwing it around, and Hollett for 62 yards. Yeah, they didn't have any huge individual performances. Cuba City turned the ball over 4 times.
Yep.
And I never know what to say. They turned it over. Aquinas had
Yeah,
takeaways.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't
can
know what
mix
the
it up a
plays
little
were all.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what happened on every play.
Yeah.
But regardless, they turned the ball over, and Aquinas took advantage of some of that. They had 4 touchdowns in the 2 middle quarters, so kind of pulled away there, and 3 wins plus a 7-6 loss.
Yeah.
Got to be pretty ecstatic if you're the Blue Goats right now. And the games are going to get tougher, but you got to go out and win the games you have. And if you're Aquinas now, looking back at where you were the last few years, any win's a huge win, and now they got 3 in a row. So give them some credit.
Yeah, and the big thing for Aquinas was just getting the numbers, getting the building that foundation, and whatever success this year was almost cherry on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This was the year that they thought they could make a difference, and plus going to the new conference, they're playing schools their own size. So the combination of the competition and getting those kids out, and not having to play at school with 1,200 kids in it, like a Holmen or something, and they're taking advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, they sure are. Well, everybody, that'll do it for us tonight. It's another late night for us. Check out all the action tomorrow. We'll have 4 games up. Like I said, we were at Holmen Central on Alaska Logan. We had someone at Spartatoma as well. In West Salem, Lake Mills also. We had someone there in GT, Wisconsin Dells. So look for that.
LacrosseTribune.com.
LacrosseTribune.com. And then Todd will have a follow-up from his game Sunday.
Yep, we'll have some follow-up stories in the Sunday paper on the website on Saturday.
Yep.
So there's always more to see if you go to LacrosseTribune.com, videos, all that stuff.
Yep, LacrosseTribune.com, don't forget. But for me, Alex VandenHouten, and Todd Sommerfeldt, thanks and have a good night.